lesson number 1, it is Indian Constitution and historical context. In this lesson, the topic is silent features of Indian Constitution. So the drafting committee of our Indian Constitution, so this committee led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So this drafting committee drafts our Indian Constitution. According to this drafting committee, the silent features of Indian Constitution. So the first one is written Constitution, and the second one is preamble. The third one is sovereign and secular. The combination of rigid and flexible, unitary and federal features, the parliamentary government system, the fundamental rights, the directive principles, the independent judiciary, the fundamental duties, the single citizenship, the bicameralism state, and franchise adult. So these are all the silent features of our Indian Constitution. So the first one is a written Constitution. The first one is a written Constitution. So the Constitution of India is written. So all matters are neatly written our Indian Constitution. So actually all matters are neatly written in our Indian Constitution. Our Constitution is biggest written Constitution of the world. And the next one is preamble. So here the meaning of preamble is, so all matters are in this preamble. So all matters are mentioned in this preamble, just like the preamble is heart of our Indian Constitution. So it is the one of the most important feature. It is the preamble. And then the sovereign and secular. So here the Constitution of the Constitution silent feature of our Indian is sovereign and secular. So actually India is the country of sovereign. So sovereignty or sovereign means actually the sovereign means here who issue the orders is the sovereign. So India creates its own sovereignty. So the country of India is sovereign and secular. So actually here the secular means, so the religionless state. India is a religionless state. All religions are equal before in the state. So the example, India is the big secular state. And then the combination of rigid and flexible. So the rigid constitution means here the strong constitution is called rigid constitution, the strong constitution. So Indian Constitution is not a strong constitution like America. So the American Constitution is best example of rigid. And the flexible means weak constitution. For example of flexible constitution, the Britain is the best example of flexible constitution. So actually our Indian Constitution is not strong, is not weak. It is between strong and weak. So the combination of rigid and flexible. And the fifth one is unitary and federal features. So India is not country of unitary. Unitary means single government dominates total state. That is the unitary government. So actually the Britain is the unitary government state. India is not unitary. It is the federal. Federal means here states and central. So actually the federal means here the states and central. So unitary means only one central government. So actually here the federal government of India maintain unitary authority, unitary government system. Ante here the central government dominates all states. So all states are in control of central government. So this is the unitary and federal feature. And the next sixth one is parliamentary government. Here the meaning of parliamentary government is the department of legislature depends on executives. The department of executive depends on legislature. So this is the meaning of parliamentary government. Indian silent feature of constitution parliamentary government. So here the legislatures always depends on executives. The executives depends on legislature. Okay, this is the parliamentary government. And then the fundamental rights. So the 6 fundamental rights to the side of citizen. Every citizen has 6 fundamental rights. In our Indian Constitution, Part 3 says about these fundamental rights. So right to, for example, right to equality, right to freedom. These are all 6 fundamental rights to the citizens. So the fundamental rights all are protected by the courts. And then the directive principles. So here the directive principles creates socio and economic equality state. So in our Indian side, 3 directive principles in our Indian side. So social principles, Gandhian principles, dialectual principles. So these principles are directive principles. And independent judiciary, the Department of Judiciary narrates independentary role. Independentary. So the courts narrates independentary role. So the judiciary department maintain independentary role. And then the fundamental duties. So every citizen have 10 fundamental duties for in his side. So the rights, where the rights there is duties. If no rights, no duties. No duties, no rights. So rights depends on duties. So some example, every citizen of India must respect national flag, national anthem and constitution of India. These are all etc. These are all 10 fundamental duties. Single citizenship. The citizenship of Indians are only one single citizenship. Who lives in India is an Indian. So the America citizenship is dual citizenship. The Indian citizenship is single citizenship. And then the bicameralism. So which state have 2 houses? One is upper house and another is lower house. So for example, the upper house of our India is Rajya Sabha, the lower of our India is Lok Sabha. So these 2 houses in our side, so the India is a bicameralism state. And then Franchi adult. So who completed their 18 years, those are all the voters. No variation between sex and caste. So who completed their 18 years, those are all the voters in our India.